Okay, we're back. Let's talk about the old world situation that we find ourselves in. Like I was telling you, my mom and dad didn't understand why we wanted to go to movies with our friends. We were saying that the Latino culture seems to, the generations mix it up more than the American culture. And you're saying that that was a problem, still a problem with you?
Yeah, I mean,
but you're so sophisticated, Libertad.
I mean,
liberated.
I grew up in a very untraditional Chicano home, though. You know, I grew up, both of my parents are atheists. I grew up, you know, going to marches and meetings. But still, I think my mom's, you know, her morals and the way she perceives the world is way different from the way my dad perceives the world. My mom, till this day, has difficulty with me picking up a man to go somewhere, you know, or she has difficulty with someone coming over for dinner or going out to dinner with us who hasn't said he is my boyfriend or is just a male friend. She doesn't believe in male friends.
No conocen los padres.
No, you know, and then,
who
you
hasn't
know,
made it official to the pueblo.
yeah,
Right.
you know, and to my mom it's like that, and to my dad it's different. You know, I think my dad's a little bit more understanding of how things work, and my dad really just like, oh, it's, you know, my dad will give like
cultural.
Sorry.
There's a cultural question. You know, we
She
say,
said smart mouth.
¿Qué dirán? You know, what will they say?
Yeah.
And that drives a lot of how we behave. So
Yeah.
they want us to be successful and out there, but don't make too much noise, porque ¿qué dirán? So we're taught to be extremely polite.
Yes.
So when it comes
Too polite.
very extremely polite. So what happens is that when you want something, you need something like nurturing. You know, you have to ask for it in a nice way. You can't say, I need scholarship, I need a parent program, I need a leadership
And what
program.
you end up saying is, well, that's the way life is.
That, what can I get?
See, you know,
Hands out.
you're lucky if you get it, and if you don't, then oh well.
Nelly, do you think Latinos are too polite?
I think so. Well, I think they're polite, but also I think it's needed, that politeness is needed over here. But at the same time, I think times are changing, and we are actually changing ourselves to accept that politeness around. But we were used to say Monday, or like we were talking about a little bit ago, we say mande usted,
Para
or muchas
servirle.
gracias, para servirle a usted. Those type of things, they might not be very acceptable in this culture around here, but we have it within ourselves, and that's the things that we give, or the contributions that we give to the culture around here.
Yeah, well, we did a show on business, and some of the people were saying Latinos are not assertive enough in business. And our psychology is, we're here to serve. We're taught es serviciable, el niño. You know, that's a compliment. Whereas if you told in English, you know, he's serviceable, it's like, well, he's the help.
And if you're bold enough to go out there and kick butt and go after what is yours, then you're known as like a troublemaker and somebody.
Oh, well, you're a troublemaker, just.
Well, I am a troublemaker, but the point is, Chris, as I was saying. But anyone who goes out there, any business owner, anybody who's making money, who's making a difference, who's starting their own Latino magazine, who's starting their own Latino business, other Latinos know, oh, they're, you know.
Or even if we talk about politics, Chicanos or Latinos or whatever you want to say don't want to speak out, and they prefer to go, you know, through the back door. They prefer to take other avenues of it, but they don't speak out, and they're not outspoken about the way they feel. And I think I think it's complex. I think that the matter just doesn't go on how we contribute to the economy, but I think how we contribute to all lifestyles here in the United States, and how we feel, or some of us feel, that we're not getting anything back for that. And I'm not talking just economy, I'm talking about education, I'm talking about, you know, the way we live, health benefits and everything. And I think that has to do a lot with the way we're brought up. You know, and I think it is changing, but...
Yeah, and it's different because Chicanos have this, we're here, we're part of the scene, we're part of the history, we own it. Whereas immigrants, because there's a newness to it, they've, you know, for a lot of reasons. I mean, if you're illegal, you're not going to call the police, or you're not going to, or if you don't speak the language. Some of it also has to do with that fact that many of the immigrants come from Latin American countries where, you know, why ask for things if it's never going to be given to you? Right. You know, we don't have a history of voting. We don't have a history of going out there. When you're doing like marketing and you're talking to what would be a non-Latino client, what do you tell them about the culture? What's the first thing they need to know about us?
Is that we have a lot of similarities and a lot of differences. If you think about an immigrant who arrived here, this is somebody who's very brave. They may have come across two countries under very adverse situations, so they're not
inner tube.
So they're not people that won't succeed. They already have that ethic to succeed and do well. So it's a market. how much of the $400 billion of spending do you want from them?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was telling you that when I would go to Mexico, I was kind of dissed and at the same time respected. They loved everything American. It was like La Televisión, we would try the monkeys, my clothes, everything was the coolest and all this stuff. Yet at the same time they criticized me because tengo acento pocho. You know, so I wanted to know, now that Latinos are interfacing more, meaning you get new immigrants working with pochos and all that stuff, do you think that there's going to be a new type of acculturation, that maybe we're not going to become so Americanized anymore?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, you know. I think it's hard to say.
I mean, because in the old days, Latinos were not told to speak Spanish. Now
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
okay. People are saying we want to speak
but you
some
know,
Spanish.
sometimes it does happen still. I mean, I still have a couple cousins that we grew up in my grandma's house, calling her Mama Abuelita, and you know, and speaking to her in Spanish. You know, even though my grandma speaks English, and I have cousins that I don't speak Spanish, and my mom will speak to them, or I'll speak to them in Spanish, and I don't understand what you're saying.
We'll be back with Café California next week. Mr. Orsi, you deal with like all the big clients like Coca-Cola and all this stuff, and they really sell to the Latinos, you know, but they think that selling to a Latino means in Spanish, and there's a lot of English-speaking Latinos. Do you see them catching on that we got to have images that are brown images, but in English?
You know, if you think about all those segments that we have, some are Spanish preferred, some are English preferred, somewhere in the middle. You know, Nettie said
Smoking,
earlier,
non-smoking.
not smoking, she said we have to have manners, and we do have to have manners when we're at the dinner table. When it comes to the societal table, we deserve a place, and we should say exactly what we need. And I think that's where the gloves come off as far as I'm concerned. And this is a market that's growing.
Yeah, but I think we deserve a table not only in marketing and, you know, selling ourselves, but also in, you know,
Education.
education.
We deserve it all. We deserve it all.
Like, we were saying, like Rudy Acuña being questioned about teaching Chicano studies, that this still isn't a viable subject.
I mean, it's okay to sell Miller Lite to a Chicano, right? Or to a
For over 30 years, Telecu has built its reputation in the community on a foundation of service, empowerment, advancement, and the creation of self-sufficiency, achieving multifaceted growth through innovation and collaboration.
And we really believe that the greatest social good that you do for an individual is the creation of a full-time job so that he or she may clothe, feed, and educate their own families.
Telecu, a pioneering institution for the ages.
¿Qué podría usted comprar con $12.50? 35 millones de personas lo invierten en una membresía con AARP. Y con esos $12.50 al año, obtienen acceso a descuentos y muchos beneficios, como servicios legales y financieros, oportunidades para trabajar como voluntario y asistencia gratis en la preparación de sus impuestos. Llame, infórmese, hágase miembro y recibirá gratis un ejemplar de Segunda Juventud.